You're watching CES Live, powered by Ustream.tv, the most powerful way to stream live video. And by UTech, makers of the TriCaster family of broadcast and streaming systems. And now, CES Live.
Live.
I am Renee Ritchie.
I'm Adam Zeiss.
And we are back for more wearables, and we are going to dive headlong into watches.
Watches.
My wrist is still up for grabs, Adam. My wrist has no loyalty whatsoever yet.
Mine is covered usually, but I don't
Well,
really
you
have
run
a
a
loyalty.
site all about connected watches.
I do.
I have
So
literally seen you with like 9 watches on one
I
arm.
do. There's pictures of many watches at the same time.
So which watch are we looking at now?
I believe we're going to talk about Martian watches now.
Other planetary watches, outer space alien
interplanetary
watches. Interplanetary watches, awesome.
Absolutely.
So,
Stan, Adam, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
David,
Nice to meet you.
Renee, nice to meet you.
Renee, nice to meet you too.
greetings. I'm checking
Okay.
your wrist as I'm
Renee,
talking
thanks.
to you.
just to make sure.
There we go.
I'm off wrist,
So Martian watches.
right? So we're kind of the contrarian watch.
How so?
Meaning that while everyone else started out thinking, let's just shrink the phone and put it on your wrist and you swipe for apps and you press buttons and navigate, we thought that seemed kind of crazy and not something long-term you want to do. And so 2 years ago, we were the first to put voice on a smartwatch so that you could connect to Siri or Android. But 2 years ago, and we won one of the best of show finalists for CNET, but 2 years ago, only 20% of the people even that had voice command on their smartphone would use it. But now it's well over 50%, people are getting it, and we're back stronger than ever with 9 new models of voice command watches, and David here with guest watches.
So your watches
Driving
look
that.
like watches.
That's
that
what
was
we've
our
heard.
That's the idea.
No, I'm saying that sort of tongue-in-cheek, but it's true because a lot of smartwatches bear almost no resemblance to watches.
Precisely.
Well-
like Stan said earlier, there's smartwatches or smartphones like squished down onto your wrist.
Well, early on, we really, it's been a great day and a half already here with talking to press and others, and people are thinking that the market really is moving past the kind of geek techie who wants to be seen with a flat panel watch to know he's wearing a smartwatch, and they're moving back to design. And so we felt that was going to be happening, and it's going. And the reality is, I would put our watches up against anything out there in terms of features and functionality.
So what are these features?
Well, there's 2 parts to the smartwatch. There's outgoing command and control,
Yes.
and there's incoming information. So command and control, 90% of ours is done through voice. You can read a message, you can send a message, you could set a reminder, you could get a sports score, you could search the web, you can get directions, you can say navigate me home, all those through your wrist. It's always there, not a headset. It acts like a headset on your wrist. So it's always there, but it's not in your ear. And it doesn't
Headset
look-
on the wrist. You should patent that right now.
Yeah, well, it's, we tried.
Trademark the
We
phrase.
got it. So, but that's technically kind of how the thing works. And then there's another half dozen features controlling your music, controlling your camera remotely, finding your phone if it's under a newspaper, another half dozen things that we can do with the watch that aren't voice commanded.
So here's my thing. I have a phone, but there's a certain amount of things that are so brief but still important that I want to do them, and I don't want to have to reach for my phone or go get it every time. They're very small interactions, but if you could take that from my phone and stick it somewhere on my body, I will be eternally grateful.
So what are those?
Well, for me, it's logging, it's remote control, it's, what do they call it? Authentication, some forms of communication and notification. I just want all those things where I can passively look at something, I don't have to deal with it right now.
Well, your first 3 we don't do, the last 2 we do. So,
Well, no, you mentioned kind of sort
almost
of doing
there.
some of those things.
well, we do. I mean, the command and control thing and all those things going in, I mean, that's a big differentiator. And you got HomeKit from Apple.
Yes.
We're the only phone with voice that works with iOS right now that we know of, unless there's an announcement about to happen here at the show. And the Apple Watch come on. And with that, Apple, probably only for our benefit, but they're investing hundreds of millions of dollars in the whole initiative of voice and Siri and
Yes.
HomeKit. So we hope by the end of the year you'll be able to say secure the home, and you'll lock the doors, dim the lights, lower the temperature.
Well, that's an amazingly human interaction though, right? Like you're not punching buttons, you're not using a keyboard, you're telling something what you
Right.
want to have done and it's just doing it for you.
Well, that's the goal. And the key with this, Android Wear watches also allow voice commands, but they usually get a text response. So if you're driving or something, you then still have to look. But most of our responses, almost all, are voice. So they work. So Siri will then confirm certain things. If I'm making a note to call Adam tomorrow at noon, it'll say, I've made your note to call Adam at noon.
Crash the compound, just everything, close it.
It's copy that
So
code,
anyway,
baby.
that's the outgoing. Then incoming, and I love it, Adam, that you're wearing a Pebble Steel.
I am wearing a Pebble Steel.
And we'd go up head to head when
dare
people
you.
understand what's going on.
Unbelievable.
First of all, it's
I forgot
great.
to take it off.
But when you get a notification on any other smartwatch, as far as we know, it vibrates and you look, vibrates
It's
and you look.
horrible.
And if
Vibrates
you
and look,
miss
vibrates
it,
and look.
first of all, it drives you
Got a patent
crazy.
on that,
And our first watch drove us crazy. We thought, this can't be. So I went to the engineers and said, can you just at least make text messages feel different vibration. They said, we can make everything feel different. And now we have this kind of what we call smart vibrations, but you basically filter what you want to get. So you may say, I get so many emails, I don't care.
Yes.
But then you can put a custom vibration on this thing. So if a family member wants to use LinkedIn for messages or WhatsApp or something and you know it's them, because you can't get the person through iOS
Yes.
or Android,
To
but
differentiate,
you
yeah.
can with a different app. So if my kids use WhatsApp and they're the only ones with me, then I know with a vibration of 4 long vibrations.
Well, that's a super point because
me.
watches are so intimate, and if they just buzz all the time, if everything is important, nothing is important.
Right.
Exactly.
And that's the whole key. And I'm amazed others haven't done. I don't want to talk people into it, but hopefully we've got patents pending, et cetera. But the point is that contextual vibration pattern is maybe the biggest thing we've ever done with a smartwatch, and people don't even see it.
That was something we saw last year, right? Because I know we had Martian on the show last year, and it was new to the Martian.
That was
Notifier
new last year
right?
with Notifier,
With
and that's
iOS.
what got it the awards that it did.
Sure.
Not to mention that once you get that vibration, oftentimes you're in a conversation like this, you can't look at it, and it goes away. But with ours, within 5 minutes, we just turn on an accelerometer,
Right.
and like here's one coming in right now, and I can just tap the glass.
And that's,
Adam, get on these camera
That's like
things.
something you can do on iOS too, I think, right? Because you can set up custom notifications for vibration.
So we had a question in the chat room from Thurbert, and he wants to know how does it deal with ambient noise? Like if you're in a subway or you're in a bar, how good is your audio processing?
Well, it's not. It's pretty good. The whole chipset is a noise cancellation factor. We only have one microphone, but it still works quite well. In real noisy environments, it's sometimes sketchy. But I've been using it here with voice commands at incredibly loud.
So I'm the
situations.
guy who's in the bar. Turn on, and then suddenly the music drops, and then I'm the idiot there yelling at my watch, going, turn up, ah!
Yeah.
Oh, you're the guy. Right?
That's me. Sorry about that. I
So-
apologize. It was a wedding. I was
But
very
it's
awkward.
not meant. I mean, we got in and people were talking when we first came out. Well, you know, I'm standing on a street corner in New York City and trying to talk to my wife, and I don't think this thing works well. Well, you wouldn't stand with your smartphone with the on speaker mode on a corner in New York City
I
doing
have
it.
seen that guy. That is
Yeah.
not a good guy.
I do it all the time.
But in your car,
Yes.
on a ski lift where
Absolutely.
you don't want to drop the
Yeah.
thing, and I'm talking to people getting sports scores all
Can I
the way.
make an
like
admission?
they're-
I am so lazy. I don't want to type anymore. I just say everything now, and
Right.
like it's humiliating, but I am that guy.
It's good to
Well,
be lazy, though.
It is. I mean, and
It's
I
also safer. When I use it a lot for driving, and SMSs come through even when you're driving. This watch will actually read the SMS to you out loud, and then you can reply using voice. So don't have to take your eyes off the road. Don't have to press any buttons. It's all.
So it looks
interactive
like
right
you
there on
have
wrist.
the winter 2015 collection in
Can we
front
pull
of us
those
here.
over so we can get a
We
better
have,
look
yes.
at them?
Exactly, winter style. So the top are all women's watches. You can see this
So
is
those
a
are
Monarch
Ferrari?
line. They're 40 millimeter. And you know, we're proud of the fact that both guests and ourselves are now designing smartwatches for women rather than the unisex deal. And we've really tried to model after the most popular kind of designs that are out there. And then men's a little more ruggedized. This is our kind of flagship Commander.
Yeah, Twitter is making fun of me for asking about fashion with wearables, but it really is a legitimate thing. People want to wear things that represent themselves.
It's totally legitimate. I mean, I think as Stan said earlier, we kind of moved past the time period where somebody wants to represent that I'm a techie or I'm on the cutting edge.
I have a screen on my wrist.
Precisely, and for
With
us as
tape.
being the guest watch people coming into a great partnership with Martian, and our Guest Connect product is powered by Martian technology, but we are much more about retaining the aesthetics of a core traditional watch. One of the things we really like about partnering with Martian together is we've gotten the buttons or the pushers now transferred over to the right side of the case, which maintains the aesthetic of more of a traditional watch feature rather than something that looks so uber techie.
Well, you've got the crown. I mean, like anyone who's familiar with a watch will be familiar with how you are laid out. You've got the crown, the face, the design.
Precisely. And without sacrificing a ton of thickness.
What's the pricing and availability for all these guys?
So for the Martian line,
Yeah, we're going to be probably $200 to $400 in that range.
And they're all going to vary all across the
They
board?
will. Some of the low end here are a nylon composite basis, and they'll be less expensive, and the high end all stainless steel all around. They'll be high end, and when we add jewels to them, that goes even higher.
So what's the breakdown? Who buys these kinds of watches? Are these people who are traditional watch wearers who want to get smarter, or are they people who've used wearables and kind of want a more sophisticated look, or maybe a mix of both?
I think it's a combination of both.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, everybody who's trying to project the market size of wearables. You know, I read an article the other day of somebody with a nice round set of figures. It's going to be a $10 billion industry. 50% is going to be cannibalization. 50%
somewhere
is going to be
between
new
set-top boxes
acquisition.
and phones.
Exactly. It's a great round numbers, but I think ultimately the consumer's going to decide. And I think what we're excited about with both collections of product is you're going to get a cross-section of both. People that want the technology, but also people that are, hey, I was going to buy a watch anyway, but why not spend a little bit extra and get something that looks like the watch that I wanted, but contains all the smart features.
So what's the little bit extra? What's the range now? Like, what's the point of entry for these watches? And if you're an aficionado, how far can you go?
Yeah, so for our guest product line, we kick off at around 125 and go up to about 300. This product will open and launch in the early part of Q3 at about 350.
Nice.
And for the geeks out there, all the specs wise, I mean, micro USB charging on the side.
Yes.
The screen's an OLED display.
Yep.
Yes,
right?
it is.
Correct.
Exactly.
Hey, you're good.
I do a little bit of this for a living.
So, and again, between the notifications and the voice command, you know, we're very proud of the feature set. But you know, one point I want to make though is key with guests coming into the game is that almost all distribution's been through electronics channels worldwide. And this is opening up a whole new game. Certainly Apple is trying to do that with coming in and going more fashion. Is yet to be seen where that distribution will be. But clearly we can envision together being in classic watch departments of department stores.
Well, there's always
that
an
you don't see
argument
now.
that there's going to be huge players, but there's going to be people who look at them and go, I like that idea, but not that. And then there's going to be a huge market for all the other ones.
Right.
So, well, it'll be a live and learn. You know, it's truly
Definitely.
a pioneering world, and it's an exciting time.
I'm looking forward to it.
Where can we find out more?
You can look on www.guestwatch.com as well as www.martianwatches.com.
Cool.
Awesome.
Very much.
There you go.
Thank
Great,
you for
thanks
being
a lot,
here.
Adam.
We really
I'm
do.
excited.
Cheers,
Okay.
Renee.
Thanks so
Thanks,
much.
Adam, Renee.
Great meeting you.
Thank you.
Great to meet you
Great
as well.
meeting you.
Cheers, thanks a lot.
Adam.
That's it.
Yes, absolutely.
Martian watches.
Phones are from Venus, watches are from Mars.
Something like that, yeah.
Awesome.
They have women's watches for you, men's watches for me. Everybody's happy.
I actually have been wearing women's watches for a while. Shamelessly,
I've been
they're
told.
great.
Among
They're
other
light, they're
things,
fast,
apparently.
I have no, Adam,
amazing.
there's nothing you can say that will embarrass me.
You're like a
Embarrassingly
Wonder Woman.
small wrist, Dave Curley, admitting that on live broadcast. I'm very proud of you too. So we are doing CES Live. We are not stopping. We're going to be back with the one and only Callie Lewis.
It's like a CS
You're going to
live-a-thon
see this the way it's supposed to be done.
with real talent. It'll be amazing.
You are still Adam Zeiss.
I'm still Adam Zeiss.
I am still Renee Ritchie. We have a break coming up.
Can we plug this connectedly.com?
Connectedly.com/CS Live, imore.com/CS Live. Lots of great prizes at GeekBeat TV/giveaways. Giveaways, enter a lot, enter all the time. And we will be back after this short break. Thanks everybody.
Stay tuned.
Bye chat room.